Welcome to this week's episode of Podcasts Are TrenDY, the program that lets you get to know DNY's people and culture. I'm your host, Jason Graham. This week, we're sitting down with senior staffing consultant Tiffany Acklin. Now, Tiffany's been with DNY since 2010, and not only is she one of our top performers, but she has some fascinating interests and projects outside of DNY that we'd like to talk to her about today. So welcome, Tiffany. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So you have so many things going on that I'm not even sure which to ask you about first, all right? So let's talk about writing. If I'm not mistaken, you've written 2 books, a screenplay, and a stage play, probably more. Is there anything I'm leaving out?
I'm writing a second stage play now.
Okay, a second stage play.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me just a little bit about your creative process.
For me, my first book was the beginning of it for me. And that was actually like an autobiography. It was a span of my life that I went through. And from there, like I've always had a passion for writing. Mm-hmm. When I was in school, I used to tutor language. I used to write papers. I wrote papers for my family members that were graduating with their doctors and all that kind of thing. So Writing has always been simple and easy to me. But to be able to tap into things that I'm passionate about kind of changed my entire outlook as far as it. And so I do it. It's therapeutic to me. When I wrote that first book, I did it over the course of about 6 months, and I had to wait until I was inspired. So whenever inspiration came, if I was driving, I would pick up my phone and start recording.
That's the way to do it, right?
Yeah. Or in the middle of the night, I would wake up and I slept with my laptop by my bed, and I would grab it and I would just go to writing, and I would write until time to go to work in the morning. So now it's just what I do almost every day. I'm either blogging or working on some kind of writing project.
That is awesome. So now this first book, when you finished it, did you go back? Did you have first draft, second draft? Did you do a lot of editing, or did you just put it out there and I'm good to go with this?
I knew I was good to go with it, and my sister-in-law is an English professor, so she was right there to edit. And
as you went?
Actually, I gave it all to her.
Oh, okay. Once
it was complete. I didn't want to go through a publishing company because it was my project. It was my story, and I didn't want somebody else trying to tell me how to deliver my message. And so I used her as my self-editor, and I published it myself.
That is terrific.
Yeah, thanks.
So let me ask you, you've written all these different types of things. Mm-hmm. What determines your medium? Do you sit down and say, I'm going to write a stage play, or this is a novel, or does the material itself sort of dictate what you're writing?
Honestly, I had never thought about writing a stage play until I was in the middle of writing that first book. I always knew that the events that had taken place in my life were sort of like a movie. It was things that had happened that you would be like, this is not real. This cannot be somebody's real life. And so I was like, well, I'll write the book, and then I will probably sell the book and get someone to turn it into a movie for me. Uh-huh. But as I was writing it, I felt inspired by God to write the play. And I had zero theatrical experience at all. So I'm like, okay, I'm really going outside of my comfort zone with this. And of course, you Google and you do your research and you find out the semantics of how to set things up. And it actually was easy to write. The play is not what the book is about, but it's kind of a parallel. So it was easy for me to piece that together. The second one is just really based off of some experiences that I've had over the last few years and watching other people. I'm big on relationships and life. And so the second play is going to address some things in life that we kind of tiptoe around. Taboo things. I'm a taboo writer.
We got, this is for DNY, right?
Yeah.
Tons may listen to this, so we got to keep.
No, it's not in that way. Taboo. It's like, relationships. We don't talk a lot about relationships and the challenges that we face when we have male and female interaction. So I'm the one that addresses those kind of topics.
That's awesome. So you take the things that we sort of internalize naturally, and you kind of get that out there.
Get it out there and
That's
create
awesome.
A platform for people to feel comfortable to release.
So is there a difference to you in the way that you approach writing a novel as opposed to a screenplay? for a stage
There
play?
is a difference, especially when you're writing, and you've got to have different characters, and you've got to make sure their personalities shine through in the words that they're saying. And so writing the stage play was different because I had to make sure I wrote down the emotions that each character was supposed to display at that time to make sure the entire story was being projected, on stage.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
So it's definitely different, and it takes a lot more work than just writing a novel.
So I understand that you have your own merchandise line that stemmed from one of your books. Tell me about how that developed.
Okay, so the book is called The Other Woman, and The Other Woman is actually about me. It's about the things that I went through in order to find out who I have ultimately become. The other woman that was inside of me dormant. And so people don't know it, but for years I dealt with low self-esteem. And
That's hard to imagine. It really is.
Yes, I did for quite some time, and I never felt like I was good enough or fit in, that sort of thing. And so I launched the I Am Enough movement, and it's just about appreciating who you are, who you were created to be, your flaws and everything. And so that launched in 2015. I have T-shirts and dresses and all kinds of paraphernalia. We have hats and so all sorts of things. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So you got all this stuff. Did you turn this over to a manufacturer? Did you get on what is
right.
Zazzle, I think?
No. I didn't do any of that. I actually have a really close friend who has a screen printing place. We bling ours. So I either have one of my marketing friends come up with my logos or my designs, and she presses them. And so we do mass production. I tell her what I need, and she delivers.
How do I get on it? How do I sell this? And this is a little side gig for me. Who do I talk to? Is that you?
Yes.
All right, well, I gotta get on board with that. A little bit of moonlighting.
Yes.
So you're also an actress as well as a writer. When I think about acting, because I've done some myself, I think about Stanislavski, Stella Adler, Meisner, all of these crazy methods. And I mean, to be absolutely honest with you, in my opinion, and I hope I'm not stepping on any toes here, silly stuff.
Yes.
Like, okay, let me lie on the floor and pretend to be a piece of bacon. And somehow that's going to translate into the character that I'm. So I was never really into that. I mean, to me, it was all about, all right, well, let me define this person. Let me find out what makes this person tick and what's lying underneath. The words that I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, but maybe that's not what's going on while I'm saying right? And my question was always, what do I want to get from you? What do I want to do to you? That was my each time. What about for you? Were you classically trained, grow up doing theater, or did you just take to it?
No, I did not grow up doing theater, and I've actually always been shy, rather an introvert. And so for me, my project was my first acting experience, and I had an acting coach on board with me, and one day we were in rehearsal. She was writing a film. She is an acting instructor. She went to A&M here, and she said, "I want you to be in my movie." And I was like, nervous. Yeah. Because I whispered to her, I said, "You do know that this is my first time doing anything film, theater related." And she said, "I never would have guessed. I would have thought you were doing this for years." And so I agreed to be a part of her project. And I will say it was a wonderful experience. My the character that I played had gone through a major life trauma event, and it changed her life. And so to be able to become that individual, and it's going to actually be a mini web series. And so I'll get to almost have an alter ego because her character is going to be so opposite of who I am as an individual. But it's great to be able to tap into those sides that maybe we all have, but we just don't ever visit.
That's why I did it for years. And for me personally, that was the exciting thing about it, because I got to be different people and I got to do things I would never in a million years think about doing.
Yes.
So now, how many stage productions have you been in? Is it just the one?
Just this one, just mine, and then
the film.
The film, and I am writing my movie now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, are you thinking about going out for anything else? Did you get the bit
I've
by the
actually
stage
been
bug?
thinking about it. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
It
right?
is. It's great. It's refreshing, and it's just an escape almost.
It is, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, so on top of all this,
Mm-hmm.
I understand you've got family, you're a minister, and you are a recently certified life coach.
That's
correct. How do you find the time for all of this stuff? What is your secret? How do you balance everything?
Being a single mom is probably my most important job. And so I always try to make sure that I don't take away from my daughter with what I'm doing. I get up before she gets up, and I don't typically work on projects during her hours where she's awake. So I use my lunch breaks, and I'm in meetings on lunch breaks. I am filming. I film because I have a talk show. So I film once a month, all the shows for the month on one Sunday evening.
Wow.
When she's at softball practice, I'm on the field with my computer or with my notebook, and I'm writing. I'm utilizing all my time that I can. So I just try to make sure I schedule everything. And I realize that you can actually do a whole lot when you realize how much time you waste.
That is absolutely true. I don't know how much time I spend watching The Office over and over again. I probably could be doing something productive.
Yeah, when people ask me, have you seen this show? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's going to be like, when you start life coaching me, that's going to be the first thing you're going to tell me. No more TV for you, right?
Right.
Get away from the television.
Yeah, so it's really just about balance. And I always make sure that I have time with my family and my friends. Like I said, I plan everything that I do.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is terrific. And you know what? I am very appreciative that you are a part of our DNY family.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So we probably need to do a 2-part series with you. I feel like we're just scratching the surface here. But thank you so much for stopping by, for sharing your story with us today. I know our listeners are going to love this. So you have clearly mastered the real secret of being an entertainer, which is to just keep them wanting more.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tiffany. I appreciate it.
Thanks.